Hello and welcome to the short vort on Parsha's Vaera from Chamishi to Shishi. I have 3 short vorts for this week and a question for you to think about first, and that is which of the Makos was the only one that took place in Goshen. But first, the Tzlach, Rabbi Yecheskel Landau, asked a question. By the Makkah of Kinim, of lice, the Chartumim, the magicians of Paro, were under the realization that that it is God's finger that did these actions, that it wasn't magic. So why would it be that Paro hardened his heart then? He should have been easier then and freed the Bnei Yisrael. So first we have to understand the concept that the Shotrei Shemayim, the heavenly beings, they're supposed to perform nature, not miracles. Hashem himself is the one who performs miracles. And the Jews, when they would come out of Egypt, that would be something that would be done with Hashem and Shem Hashem Adnas. Now there's 2 languages of Hashem. There's the Hashem of Adnas, and that relates to performing miracles. And the name of God is Elokim, which is Din, which is Teva, which is nature. So Paro, he said that I don't know God of Adnas, I don't know the God of miracles, I have never seen that, but I do know the God of Elokim, of nature, and therefore it is not yet time naturally for the Jews to go out, so therefore I don't have to listen. And in fact, when the Chartumim said Etz Belokimhi, so they weren't supporting Moshe under this explanation, but they were refuting him. They were saying, no, this is a natural thing. These Kinim, they came because the wind blew them, and that's why it came. It was a natural occurrence, and if it was a natural occurrence, it makes sense that Paro would strengthen his heart and would reject them. But ultimately, we see from the next Makkah, therefore it says that Moshe introduced it right away to that the Mante Daki Ani Hashem Bekerev Haaretz, that I am Hashem, the God of miracles. This way there would be no way for them to not know that. So then in the Sefer Megid Yosef, so in Parsha Ches and Perek Ches, so it says Vayeshe Moshe va'aro me'im paro v'yitzak Moshe el Hashem, that Moshe cried out to Hashem. But earlier in Pasuk Dalid, he was asked by Paro, Vayikra Paro the Moshe va'aron va'yomer hatiru, entreat on my behalf. Why did Paro use the language of entreat and Moshe used the language of Vayitzak? So the answer that Yosef Srutzen gives is that Paro hated hated Moshe, and therefore he assumed that Moshe felt the same way about him and would have to be general request to give a prayer on his behalf. But Moshe, he had different feelings. He didn't have ill will against Paro. This is one of God's creations. In fact, at this point he thought that Paro would do tshuva, and therefore he empathized with him, and therefore Yitzhak, he cried out and shared the pain, and he had a different language than Paro's Hatiro. Another reason given, which was from Naim Torah, which is actually the father of the Sefer Megid Yosef, says that because Moshe was mispal while all the frogs were croaking, he had to scream out Vayitzak in order to be heard, which when you pray, you have to hear what you are saying. And finally, to answer our question of which Makkah occurred in Goshen and why, so that was the Kinim, the lice. All other Makkos did not occur in Goshen. But the Kinim did not, because the Kinim did happen to the Jews in Goshen, but it didn't bother them. This was unique. It was also the Makkah of Kinim that the commentators say that the Bnei Yisrael stopped doing their labor. Why was that? Because when the Afar was turned into Kinim, there was no more building. They couldn't make the cement for the building anymore, and therefore, as a practical matter, they could not build any of the pyramids or whatever they would build, Pisos of Ramsey. But if Goshen had been a place that was not affected, and there had still been, the land was still there, the dust and the sand, then they could have moved the location of construction to Goshen, and they would not have stopped their working. Therefore, even Goshen had to be a place that turned into Kinim, but it did not bother the Jews, and the Jews were able to stop their avoda from this point on. So thank you for listening. Have a wonderful week and a wonderful Shabbos.